Spain against Belgium. This is the kind of match where two teams arrive with completely different feelings around them. Spain come into it as a team of system, control, structure, and almost club-level understanding. Belgium come into it as a team of flashes, character, experience, and a new generation trying to prove that Belgian football does not have to live forever in the shadow of its old golden era. On paper, Spain look like the favorite. They have more stability, more control, a clearer footballing identity, a smoother path through the tournament, and a coach who has built a side that looks as if it has been playing together not for a few weeks, but for several seasons. But Belgium are exactly the kind of opponent that can turn the favorite label into a trap, because Belgium have already shown that if you give them space, if you let them find rhythm, if you underestimate their power in transition, a match can change very quickly. This is a quarter-final. At this stage, there are no accidental teams left. You can no longer say that someone simply had a lucky route, or happened to face a convenient opponent, or survived one good night. Spain and Belgium have reached this point in different ways, but both have earned the right to fight for a place in the semi-final, and that is why this match is not just a meeting between two national teams, it is a test of two footballing ideas. Since Euro 2024, Spain have been seen as a team of a new generation, not just a team that keeps the ball for the sake of possession, not just an heir to the old Spanish school of endless passing. This Spain can control the game, but they can also accelerate. They can attack through the wide areas, they can play through Rodri and Pedri, they can create moments through Lamine Yamal, they can bring Nico Williams into the game. They can win through substitutions, just as they did against Portugal when Mikel Merino came on and scored that late decisive goal. And that may be one of the biggest strengths of this Spain side. It never feels as if everything depends on one player. Yes, Lamine Yamal is the face of the future, the player who can change the rhythm of an attack with one touch. Yes, Rodri is the foundation of the midfield. Yes, Pedri is the brain between the lines. Yes, Dani Olmo can become the decisive player in the space just outside the penalty area. Yes, Nico Williams can explode down the flank. But Spain are not strong only because of names. They are strong because of the connections between those names. Spain know how to move the opponent, not just the ball, the opponent. A switch from right to left, a pause, a short pass into the middle, a return to the flank, a fullback making the run, a midfielder appearing between the lines, a pass into the half space, and suddenly the defensive shape begins to lose its balance. Spain do not always look like a team that attacks with brute force. They can prepare an attack slowly, but once the opening appears, they accelerate sharply. Against Belgium, that will be especially important. Belgium are not a team you can simply pass to death with slow possession. If Spain move the ball for too long without progression, Belgium can sit compactly, close the center, and wait for the transition. And in transition, Belgium have weapons: Charles de Ketelaere, Leandro Trossard, Jeremy Doku, Dodi Lukebakio, Romelu Lukaku if he comes on, and of course Kevin De Bruyne, even if his role is no longer quite the same as it was in his prime. Belgium arrive at this match after a bright win over the United States. A 4-1 victory in the round of 16 is not just a scoreline, it is an emotional boost. Before that game, there was plenty of outside noise around Belgium, but Rudi Garcia's team did not allow that noise to control them. They came out, scored early, hit the confidence of the tournament hosts, survived the response, and then struck again. Charles de Ketelaere scored twice, Trossard was important in chance creation, Lukaku added his goal, and Belgium showed that they can be dangerous even without the familiar group of old leaders starting every major game. That is a very important point. Belgium no longer look like a national team that must begin every big match with De Bruyne and Lukaku at the center of everything. Rudi Garcia has shown that he is willing to make bold decisions. He can leave big names on the bench. He can start with a more mobile, fresher, more dynamic group. He can use veterans as weapons during the game, and that makes Belgium harder to predict. But at the same time, Belgium have a serious problem: the injury to Amadou Onana. For a match against Spain, this is not just the loss of one player, it is the loss of an anchor point. Onana brought physicality, duels, height, power in midfield, and the ability to protect the space in front of the center-backs. Against Spain, that kind of player is especially important because Spain love to overload the middle, drag holding midfielders out of position, build triangles, and find the free man between the lines. Without Onana, Belgium have to find a different balance. Yuri Tielemans can bring passing and experience. Nicolas Raskin can bring energy and movement. Hans van Aken can add size, work between the lines, and a threat arriving into the penalty area. But replacing Onana directly is almost impossible. And Spain will almost certainly try to test that zone from the opening minutes. Rodri against Belgium's midfield is one of the biggest duels of the match. Rodri does not always produce the most eye-catching actions, but he is the player who decides how calmly Spain can live with the ball. He chooses the tempo, he covers behind attacks, he switches play. He stops opponents from breaking forward, and when Rodri is in rhythm, Spain begin to play as if they have an extra man on the pitch. Belgium cannot simply try to mark Rodri out of the game. They have to make him take decisions quicker than he wants to. They have to stop him turning freely. They have to block the passing lane into Pedri. They have to force Spain wider and farther away from goal. Because if Rodri and Pedri start connecting the lines with comfort, Belgium will spend too long chasing the ball. And against Spain, those spells do not just drain you physically, they drain you mentally. Pedri is another key. His game often looks soft, almost quiet, but he is the one who finds spaces other players see too late. He knows how to receive between midfield and defense, take the ball under pressure, play with one touch, and create the feeling that Spain always have one extra option. Against Belgium, Pedri may be the player who pulls Tielemans and Raskin out of position. And if Belgium's holding midfielders follow him, space will open behind them for Olmo, Yamal, or Oyarzabal. Lamine Yamal is a story of his own. In a tournament like this, there will always be huge attention around him, because he is not just a talent, he is already a player who influences major matches. Against Belgium, his flank could become one of Spain's main routes toward Thibaut Courtois' goal. Yamal can hold the width, drift inside, play with patience, create with a pass, or threaten with a shot. Even when he is not having a perfect match, one moment from him can change everything. But Belgium also understand how dangerous Yamal is. Most likely, it will not be one player defending him, it will be a whole system of cover. The fullback engages him, the midfielder blocks the inside lane, and the center-back prepares for the run in behind. Belgium's main task is to prevent Yamal from receiving the ball facing goal in areas where he can choose between dribbling, passing inside, or shooting. If he receives with his back to goal or right on the touchline, Belgium will feel much more comfortable. But Spain have another flank as well. Nico Williams, if he is ready to start, gives Spain direct speed and 1-versus-1 courage. If Yamal is more about the pause and the delicate decision, Nico can simply rip open space. He forces defenders to backpedal. He stretches the line. He opens areas for Olmo and Pedri. Against Belgium, that is especially important, because if too much attention goes toward Yamal, Nico can get his chance. And if Nico does not start, Luis de la Fuente still has options. Alex Baena can bring intelligent movement and work between the lines. Ferran Torres can come on and attack the box. Mikel Merino can strengthen midfield and add power with late runs. Dani Olmo can operate as a free creator, appearing where Belgium's defense is slow to adjust. Spain's depth is one of the things that makes them so dangerous. Mikel Merino became an important symbol of this team after his goal against Portugal, not because he must necessarily start, but because his goal reminded everyone that Spain can win not only through the stars in the starting lineup, they can win through the bench, through a fresh player, through the right substitution, through the moment when the opponent is already tired, already thinking about extra time, already losing concentration by just a fraction. Against Belgium, that could happen again. Rudy Garcia has to understand that even if his team survives the first hour, Spain will not be finished. Spain can add freshness, they can change the structure, they can bring on a player who attacks a different zone. Belgium have to be ready not only for Spain's starting plan, but also for the plan that appears after the substitutions. Belgium, of course, also have depth and experience. Kevin De Bruyne is the big question. Does he start? Does he remain a weapon for the second half? Does he play as a free man behind the striker? Or does Rudy Garcia again choose a more mobile starting group and keep De Bruyne for the moment when Spain begin to tire from their own control? De Bruyne is a player who does not need much time to make a pass that changes a match. His career has been built on seeing channels before everyone else. Even if he no longer looks as physically dominant as he did in his very best years, the quality of his final pass has not disappeared. Against Spain, he can be especially dangerous if Belgium win the ball and find him quickly in a free pocket of space. One pass behind the line, and the entire Spanish structure is suddenly under threat. Romelu Lukaku is a different kind of weapon. He may not start, but his entrance can change the character of the match. If Belgium need to hold up long passes, fight in the penalty area, and put physical pressure on the center-backs, Lukaku remains a crucial option. Spain love to control the ball, but against a powerful striker there is always a risk. One cross, one loose ball, one body-to-body duel, and the match changes. Charles de Ketelaere, after his double against the United States, may be the leading candidate to take the attacking role. He gives Belgium movement, height, technique, and the ability to appear in the right zone. He is not as heavy as Lukaku, not as classic as a center forward, and that may be exactly why he can be uncomfortable for Spain. He can drop deeper, open space, arrive as the second wave, and force the Spanish center-backs to choose, follow him or hold the line. Leandro Trossard is another player who could be extremely dangerous in this type of match. He can play between positions, start on the left, start on the right, operate under the striker, finish moves, and create them. Trossard does not always look like the brightest player on the pitch, but he often appears exactly where the ball becomes dangerous. Against Spain, where free space will be limited, players like that become especially important. Jeremy Doku is chaos, and chaos may be exactly what Belgium need. Spain love order. They love it when the match follows their rhythm. Doku can break that rhythm. 1 versus 1, acceleration, body movement, a sprint down the line, a sharp cut inside, and suddenly the Spanish defense has to react. Even if Doku loses the ball several times, one successful run can create a real chance. But there is also a risk. Against Spain, losing the ball on the flank can become the start of a Spanish attack. If Doku dribbles without support, if Tielemans and the fullback are not ready to fight for the second ball, Spain will recover possession and immediately attack the space he has left behind. So Belgium need to use Doku not just as an individual dribbler, but as part of the plan. There has to be a passing option near him. There has to be cover after a turnover. His runs cannot turn into gifts for Spain. Thibaut Courtois is a huge factor for Belgium. Against teams that dominate possession, a goalkeeper can stand for long periods without being tested in an extreme way, and then suddenly has to make one incredible save. Courtois can do that. His experience in major matches, his size, his reactions, his work on the line, and his calmness can keep Belgium alive, even during stretches when Spain are pushing hard. But against Spain, Courtois will matter not only as a shot stopper, he will have to start attacks. If Spain press high, Courtois must help Belgium escape pressure. A long pass toward De Ketelaere or Lukaku, if he is on the pitch, could become a way to break the first line. A short pass to a defender under pressure is a risk. Every decision from the goalkeeper will carry weight. For Spain, Unai Simon is expected in goal, and his role is important as well. Spain may have a lot of the ball, but Belgium's chances will come quickly. The goalkeeper has to be ready for shots after counterattacks, low crosses, one-on-ones, and deliveries to the far post. Belgium may not create 10 chances, but 2 or 3 moments could be extremely dangerous. Simon has to be ready for a match where concentration matters more than the amount of work. Spain's defense is another major storyline. Pau Cubarsí, Aymeric Laporte, Marc Cucurella, and Pedro Porro could form a line with real quality on the ball, but against Belgium they will have to be very alert in transition. Cubarsí can be excellent with the first pass, but against De Ketelaere and Lukaku, duels matter. Laporte has experience, but he must control the space behind him. Cucurella is aggressive and useful in the press, but space can open behind his back. Porro adds attacking quality, but his position will be watched constantly if Trossard or Doku are on his side. Spain have to attack without exposing themselves. That sounds simple, but against Belgium it is the hardest part. When Spain move forward, the fullbacks rise, midfielders step between the lines, and wingers hold the width. If possession is lost at the wrong moment, space appears behind them. That is exactly what Belgium will be looking for. For Belgium, the main question is how they survive long spells without the ball. Spain can keep possession, force the opponent to run, and patiently search for the free zone. If Belgium start jumping out of their block, gaps will appear between the lines. If they sit too deep, Spain will begin to pressure them through second balls and set pieces. The balance is extremely delicate. Judging by the recent matches, Rudi Garcia wants Belgium to be more than just a reactive team. He has spoken about principles of play, about the desire to dominate, play higher, and avoid being suffocated by the opponent's press. Against the United States, that plan worked. But against Spain, repeating it will be far more difficult. Spain control the ball much better, play out of pressure much better, and punish uncoordinated pressing much better. If Belgium try to press high, they have to do it almost perfectly. The striker closes the center back. The attacking midfielder controls Rodri, the wingers guide the pass toward the touchline, the holding midfielders are ready for the second ball. If even one player arrives late, Spain can escape through Pedri or Yamal, and Belgium's line will be cut open. If Belgium choose a mid-block, the match may become more comfortable for them. Do not chase Spain all the way to their own penalty area, but do not drop too deep either. Meet them after the first pass, close the center, force Spain toward the flanks, then try to intercept and break quickly. That plan makes sense, but it is very hard to maintain for 90 minutes because Spain are so good at wearing opponents down. The first goal will be a massive factor. If Spain score first, Belgium will have to open up, and when an opponent opens up, Spain get more space for Yamal, Nico, Olmo, and Pedri. At that point, the game could fall under Spanish control. They know how to protect a lead not only through defending, but through the ball. When Spain are ahead and still keep possession, it is extremely difficult for the opponent to recover rhythm. If Belgium score first, the match becomes completely different. Spain would then have to break down a deeper block, while also avoiding a second Belgian counterattack. Belgium could bring on a fresh Doku or Lukaku, if they do not start, and play into the space. Spain would keep pushing, but every lost ball would feel like a warning sign. That is the scenario Belgium would want. If the first half ends without goals, the match becomes a test of patience. Spain must not become nervous. Belgium must not lose concentration. The coaches will start thinking about substitutions. De La Fuente can bring on Marino for control and late runs, Ferran to attack the box, or Baena to move between the lines. Garcia can bring on De Bruyne, Lukaku, Doku, or, if he feels his team are beginning to fade, he can strengthen the midfield. Set pieces are a crucial theme. Spain are not always seen as a team that lives through set pieces, but they have players who can deliver good balls, and they have players who can attack space. Marino, Laporte, Rodri, and Oyarzabal are not a weak group in the air. A delivery from Olmo or Yamal can be dangerous. A corner after a long spell of pressure could decide an episode. Belgium may be even more dangerous from set pieces, height, physicality, Courtois when defending, Lukaku or De Ketelaere in attack, center-backs attacking the ball, Tielemans delivering from dead ball situations, all of that creates a threat. If Spain begin fouling near their own penalty area, they will give Belgium a way to bypass positional football. One free kick, one cross, one header, and the favorite could suddenly find themselves in trouble. Another important aspect is yellow cards and emotional control. In a quarter-final, every challenge feels heavier. Both teams know the price of a mistake is enormous, but these are exactly the matches where you cannot give in to irritation. Spain can frustrate opponents with possession. Belgium can frustrate Spain with sharp counterattacks and physical duels. Whoever loses their head first may lose their structure with it. Under Luis de la Fuente, Spain have become a team that does not simply play attractive football, but wins in mature ways. That matters. After the disappointment in Qatar, the team changed. It became more direct, more courageous, more vertical, but it did not lose its Spanish identity. De La Fuente knows many of these players from the youth national teams, and you can see it. There is trust between the coach and the squad. There is understanding between the players. That is why Spain often look like a collective where everyone knows not only their own role, but also the role of the player next to them. Belgium, on the other hand, are in the middle of a rebirth. After the end of the old cycle, there were many questions. Who would carry the team forward? How would they replace a generation that was considered one of the most talented in the world for many years, yet never won a major trophy? Now the answer is beginning to appear. Belgium are no longer only De Bruyne, Lukaku and Courtois. They are De Ketelaere, Doku, Trossard, Raskin, Lukebakio, young defenders, and a new energy, but the old leaders can still play the decisive role. That is why this match is so interesting emotionally. For Spain, it is a chance to confirm their status as a team capable of dominating not only in Europe, but on the world stage. For Belgium, it is a chance to prove they should not be written off, that they can still beat a favorite, and that their new generation is not only here to participate in the tournament, but to compete for medals. The key duels can decide everything. Rodri against the Belgian midfield is the duel of control. If Rodri is calm, Spain are calm. If Belgium force him into mistakes, the match becomes more open. Yamal against Belgium's left side is the duel of talent against discipline. If Yamal gets freedom, he will create chances. If Belgium close him down with two players, Spain have to find the other flank. De Ketelaere against Spain's centre-backs is the duel of movement. If he drops out of the line and pulls defenders with him, Belgium will find space. If Spain hold their shape, Belgium's attack may get stuck. Courtois against Spanish pressure is the duel of nerves. Belgium may not need 10 saves, they may need 2, but those 2 saves could keep them alive. De La Fuente against Garcia is the duel of approaches. Spanish stability against Belgian flexibility, control against burst, system against adaptation. Spain do have weaknesses. At times, they can become so involved in controlling the game that they forget possession itself does not guarantee a goal. Against a compact opponent, Spain can create many half chances without immediately finding a clean shot. If Belgium survive the pressure and deny space in the box, Spain will need an individual solution. The second vulnerability is the space behind the fullbacks. When Spain attack wide, their fullbacks push high. Belgium can try to move the ball quickly into the areas where Doku, Trossard, or Luke Bacchio can run. Even if those situations do not happen often, they can be very dangerous. The third vulnerability is physical combat in the penalty area. Spain know how to play football on the ground, but Belgium can try to make the match more physical. Crosses, set pieces, long passes, second balls, body-to-body duels. If Spain do not accept that part of the game, they could suffer. Belgium's weaknesses begin with the midfield without Onana. That does not mean Belgium are doomed, but against Spain, his absence may be felt in almost every phase. Who protects the space in front of the defense? Who wins the second ball? Who physically engages Pedri, Olmo, or Merino? Who covers the flank if the fullback has been caught high? There are answers, but none of them feel as natural as Onana. Belgium's second problem is the need to defend for long stretches without losing freshness. Spain can make a team run from side to side. In the first minutes, that is manageable. By the 60th minute, the legs get heavier. By the 70th, the holding midfielder is half a step late. By the 80th, the defender steps out a fraction too slowly, and that is exactly when Spain love to punish. The third problem is the choice between veterans and mobility. If Garcia starts De Bruyne and Lukaku, Belgium gain experience and quality, but may lose some intensity. If he leaves them on the bench, the team may be fresher and quicker, but could lack the genius pass or the powerful presence in the box. It is a difficult choice, and it may define the character of the match. A possible scenario looks like this. Spain begin with control, try to take the midfield through Rodri and Pedri. Yamal receives his first touches on the right, and Belgium defend cautiously in a mid-block while looking for quick exits through the flank. The first 20 minutes belong to Spanish possession, but without many clear chances. Belgium focus on patience. Then the game starts to open. Spain accelerate through the wings, Nico or Yamal try to sharpen things one-on-one, and Olmo looks for space in front of the penalty area. Belgium respond through Trossard or De Ketelaere and try to catch Spain after a turnover. If Spain score during that spell, the match could become theirs. If Belgium survive it, the second half will become more and more tense. In the second half, substitutions will come to the front. Spain will almost certainly have options to strengthen the game. Belgium can answer with De Bruyne, Doku, or Lukaku depending on the starting lineup, and the fresh players may decide the match. It may not be a goal after a beautiful move from start to finish. It may be an episode after a second ball, a deflection, a set piece, a mistake, fatigue. Quarter-finals are often decided that way. My prediction is that Spain will have more of the ball and control the general shape of the game. Belgium will be dangerous in transition and from set pieces. Belgium will have their chance, maybe even a very big one. But the absence of Onana in midfield and Spain's ability to change the match from the bench could become decisive. I expect this to be a difficult match for Spain. Not a blowout, not a comfortable stroll, not total dominance without any Belgian response. Belgium are too dangerous, too experienced, and too energized after the win over the United States to simply disappear. But Spain currently look like the more complete team. They have a better balance between attack and defense, more control in midfield, more creative options, and a very strong bench. Score prediction: Spain win 2-1. But this will be a victory they have to earn. Spain will have to get through Belgian power, through Courtois, through counterattacks, through the possible entrance of De Bruyne or Lukaku, through the moments when the match stops feeling calm. Belgium will have to play almost perfectly without the ball, take their rare chances, and prevent Spain from turning the game into one long spell of control. Spain against Belgium is a match about maturity. It is about whether Spain are ready to confirm their status as favorites against an opponent who can strike unexpectedly, and it is about whether Belgium are ready to prove that their new cycle is already capable of producing a major result. In Los Angeles, this will not simply be two European teams meeting on a big stage. It will be a team that builds everything through control against a team that can explode the game with one transition, the Spanish machine against the Belgian punch. Rodri and Pedri against the gap left by Onana's injury, Yamal against Belgian cover, Courtois against Spanish pressure, De La Fuente against Garcia. And if this match gets an early goal, it could become one of the brightest quarter-finals of the tournament. If the goals do not come for a long time, the tension will still grow with every minute, because in a game like this, even the silence before the chance feels loud. And somewhere inside that silence, the moment may appear that sends one team to the semi-final, and sends the other one home.